Hey, good to see you back today. We're looking at BibleTrack reading for the 22nd of January. Today it's Genesis chapters 12 through 15. Aren't you glad you didn't hear me say Job? Well, in chapter 12 it's pretty significant because there we begin with Abraham, and Abraham gets the call from God. The first three verses of chapter 12 are particularly significant. Has a lot to do with Bible prophecy, has a lot to do with lots of things. And so you need to take a look at that chapter 12 of Genesis. And then we get down to the end of chapter 12, and Abraham tells a little lie. It's not a complete lie, but it's questionable. And look at that and see why he said it and exactly what he said. Then we come to chapter 13. In chapter 13, Abraham and Lot both have a lot of money. Lot is Abraham's nephew. And by the way, here until we get later on in the book of Genesis, Abraham is called Abram. Well, they split up, and this is when Lot takes off and goes down to his choice of property, down to Sodom and Gomorrah. God then, in the last part of chapter 13, adds to the promise that he's already made to Abraham. In chapter 14, we meet a guy named Melchizedek, or is it a guy? As a matter of fact, I have an article in that chapter about Melchizedek, and I think you may agree with me that Melchizedek was a pre-incarnate Jesus Christ. Read chapter 14 and see if you don't agree with me. We see him all through chapter 14 after the warfare. And then the seed issue comes up again in chapter 15. God renews his promise to Abraham. Now, the Abrahamic covenant is in view here, and it's pretty important. It's an important covenant of the Old Testament, and we still see provisions of the Abrahamic covenant in operation today. God makes it official, then, this covenant with Abraham, in a ceremony that's in chapter 15. And finally, God awards land. The land that God would award to Abraham is actually accomplished during the lifetime and reign of King David. If you click on a link there in that chapter, you'll see that got a map. Map shows you what that land, that real estate that God promised Abraham involves. And then there's something about the spiritual blessing of Abraham that applies to Christians. That's referenced in Galatians chapter 3:16. You may want to click on that link and see what we have to say about that. Well, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's reading, and we'll see you tomorrow.